The ending is nearer than you think. It is already written. All we have left to choose is the correct moment to begin. Alan Moore. When we think about public speaking, the biggest fear is just getting started. Whether it's with public speaking, starting a YouTube channel like this one, or really anything that we do in life. Which is exactly why in this week's episode of MasterTalk, I'm going to teach you how to get started with public speaking so you can take the first step to mastering your talk. Hi everyone, Brendan here from MasterTalk, and today we're talking about how to take that first step. So let's get cracking. Number one, understanding where fear of public speaking comes from and being at peace with it. Look, I get it. Public speaking can be challenging. I grew up in a city called Montreal, and in Montreal, you gotta know how to speak French. So I grew up in a French education system where I had to speak in a language I didn't even know. So I understand that communication can be challenging for most of us. But we need to understand as a society that public speaking fear is not our fault. It is the fault of the system in which we grew up learning it. I mean, think about it. All of the presentations you've given in your life were mandatory. They're to topics you never got to pick, presenting to students who didn't really listen to you, and teachers who were very well intentioned but didn't have time to coach you. How are you supposed to get better at a skill when everyone is forcing you to do something, and if you don't do well, you get punished with it, which is usually, a promotion you don't get at work or a grade that you don't get in school? And that's the secret to mastering communication, is to first understand the system in which we learned the skill in the first place, and to say, wait a second, it's normal that I'm scared of public speaking. I'm not unique. I was scared of public speaking too. And by acknowledging that first, then we can start to fix it. And by fixing it, we can say the following: we're going to be scared of public speaking. That's okay. I am too. But as long as our message, as long as the ideas that we have to share with people are more important, the fear will go away. I had a lot of insecurity when I started this YouTube channel. But what I'm much more afraid of is you, and you not getting access to that information. So I push through the fear and I do it anyways. And that's the first step to getting started with communication. Number two, create a repeatable presentation. The secret that the best speakers don't tell you is that they present the same thing over and over and over again until it's perfect. This is the opposite of what the education system teaches us to do. Because when you're in school or you're at work, your presentations change all the time. I got a presentation in history, in science, in math, in gym. Yeah, there's sometimes gym presentations too. I know it's really weird. But in those situations, you're not really focused on delivering the best presentation. You're focused on survival. You're focused on getting through the day. That's why my advice is, if you want to get better, you need to practice the same thing over and over again. And that's true with any skill, by the way. If you wanted to learn piano, you have two options. The first option is to say, okay, let me do like 50 different songs and 50 different times and see what happens. And if you're Mozart, that's gonna work. But for most of us, that's not going to work. But instead, if we say, let me present the same song, let me play that same track 50 times, well, then you'll get a lot better at piano and you'll build momentum and say, hey, look at me, I'm at this fancy gala, I know how to play piano. Same analogy applies with this. Figure out one topic that you're an expert on, something you want to share with a group of people that you're passionate about, that you care about, and present that thing over and over and over and over. Even if it's just a group of 3 people, even if you're alone and you're just recording yourself and sharing it with people, that is the secret to mastering communication. And I hope you take advantage of that as well. And finally, number 3, figure out your public speaking why. Everyone has a reason for doing what they do. The people who are successful anyways. And if you want to be successful at communication, especially as you get better with your presentations, and the way that you speak to others is to figure out why you want to be exceptional. That's why I always ask this question: how would the world change if you were an exceptional communicator? And that answer will vary based on each individual person. And if you can find that answer within yourself, I believe you'll be a lot better with communication and how to share an idea with the world. Once again, when I started the YouTube channel, I didn't have that much confidence. My mother would look at me and say, "Brendan, what are you doing? You have a 6-figure corporate job. Why are you making videos in our basement on a couch we didn't even buy? Like, are you crazy?" And I said, "Yeah, I guess I am a bit crazy. It doesn't really make much sense to me either." But then over time, as I would talk to the 7 people who are subscribed to my YouTube channel, the 14 people who are watching me every week, I would start to gain more confidence and figure out why I needed to keep getting better at camera and speeches in general, because I can inspire other people to communicate their ideas effectively to the world as well. So for you, what is that reason? The more specific you are, the easier it will be for you to stay motivated, because communication is a lifelong journey. It's not a skill you're going to master overnight, but rather over time. And it's one you'll never be world class at, even at the end of your life. I'm still getting better every day. I'm still figuring out ways of improving my skill. So it's a process you need to learn to enjoy. And here's a great example as well of someone who's done this. You know, some people, when I ask them what they want to do with their public speaking why, they always say something like, I want to have a promotion at work. It's very vague. It's not very strong. Whereas the best answers I've heard are, I always wanted to take my wife on a trip and she doesn't speak English that well. So if I learned how to speak English and communicate effectively, I could show her the world. That's a reason why you want to master communication, even if I'm not married. But the point is, find a reason that works for you and master the art of public speaking. When we make the decision to begin, everything else becomes clear. Before I started MasterTalk, didn't really know what it was going to turn into. You can go check out my first videos to see. And now look at me. I got a suit on for some reason. There's some dude behind me who's filming me. And all of these things happen because we made the decision to begin. And that is the message I want to give all of you. Make the decision to begin. Raise your glass and say that my ideas matter. Whether that idea is for 1 million people or just one, I want to encourage you to share it because that idea matters to somebody. As always, if you enjoyed this week's episode of MasterTalk, be sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel and smash the like button as well. I'd really appreciate it. And if you know anyone who wants to master their communication skills, who wants to get started, send them this video so that they'll be one step closer to mastering their talk. See you next time, everyone.